Poodle God.
I got sent up to New York with there's like 16 New York actors. I'm fucking so scared because it's such a hyper extrovertism that it's like a haunted house.
Right.
And they did that shit where I walked in the room and they were all acting like cats. And I peeked in the room and they were like, "Hey, come on in." And I was like, "No." And I found my way through the thing and made it up to the roof, and I sat up on the roof. I was so like, I thought I was in a haunted house.
Wait, what? You went to like the Sleep No More thing?
I did a show is it called St. Andrews? Is it St. Andrews Cathedral? There's a basement. I did a show with some weird actor people. I've done a lot of weird stuff, I think. I played in Music Midtown.
Did you really?
Yeah, on some side stage. I don't remember what year that was, 2002? Yeah. I don't know. If I get thinking about what I've done, I'm in like, my stupid little naive ass has been in like a lot of weird spots, a lot of weird things. Yeah, like, no, I was getting guitar mags in like the late 80s, you know what I mean? Like, get them and learn all that 80s shit, so it made you like learn all that fancy little stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like, I know all the fancy 80s stuff, but what can you do with it? Like my dad's like, "You've never fucking played a whole song ever," and I was like, "Nah."
Right.
I was like ADD, man. It's just sing 3 chords for like 5 minutes. What am I gonna do?
Can you play the intro to Welcome to the Jungle?
Oh yeah, yeah. That was like one of the.
Yeah.
I think it was like that. Spy Hunter was the first one.
Okay.
And I think Welcome to the Jungle was like one of the second ones. Yeah.
That's gotta be like one of the coolest.
I had a best friend that was playing too, so the competition between that age, you're like 12, 13. Yeah, you wanted to be better than your friend, so it pushed you. It's what I'm missing now. It's like I like that, like having a competition that's doing the same thing, that's trying to be better. You know what I mean? Like,
So what was it? So is that what y'all had when it was Southern Sunday?
oh, Sunday Southern. Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah. I guess like a super group that came around for a second. A super group in Atlanta's art scene of which no one pays attention to.
So what was it called though? The full name?
Sunday Southern Art Revival.
And who was it?
George, Long Michi, Jesse Krieger, and then this guy Scott Pathia. But he was different. Like, I don't know, George brought him, but he was totally different than us. He was like, had dead pictures of deers. He was like darker. Like, he was kind of the oddball in it. I don't know where he is. Like, I'd like to know where he is, because this stuff was like conceptual and darker.
Yeah.
Where ours was like fucking cornbread and whatever, you know what I mean? Like, so it was like a weird contrast on that.
Yeah.
And I don't know where he went. Like, just into a portal or something. Like, oh, Mario.
Who?
Chambone, Mario. I gotta forget Mario. Yeah.
George is
He's crazy. He's got that like art eye where it's like also like gleamy little, almost mischievous little art eye. He gets into a lot of stuff. I've been asking him about like old school animation, almost on a overhead projector, kind of like old schoolness, and it's raw and he stays super raw for some reason. Like, his stuff is always like raw, good and raw.
How raw is this stuff?
Raw.
Do you feel like if
Raw.
raw is that word that you're attributing to George? Where do you feel like you fall on the raw spectrum?
Like medium well, or like a good medium rare, medium raw. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what my stuff is. It's a layered puzzle of these like computations of lines and design and challenging yourself to figure out where does this go with this, and if this goes with this, then this goes with, and it's with colors and shapes and shit, so it's the most pleasant little non-solvable equation. You know, it's like a happy color equation. Now, try to solve it, and it doesn't matter if you get it right. You know what I mean? It's very like it's relaxing.
It is.
And you can make it harder or softer on yourself. You can play with yourself in internal way a little. So it's like I don't know what I mean, if you say paint a turtle, I'll paint you a turtle in my way of painting a turtle.
Right.
But I don't plan to paint anything. It's usually like blank canvases, and then you just play that little game again, and then it's like, if you don't want it to be abstract, then say, I'll put something that'll hold together, that, you know, that'll suck your eyes to be like, it's a skull or something like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? But
something recognizable.
I wish I had more to, you know, I wish I could say, because of today's society, you know, this roots in my head,
right.
But it's like, I'm so normal, and now that I'm getting older, I'm like, normal is fucking punk, fucking rock, dude. Like, stable, rational, and normal is like, holy shit, it's this dude from outer space. He's fucking normal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want to be a rock star in art. I don't want to have a photo shoot of me. What the fuck am I doing? You know what I mean? I don't want that. I want you to look at that. So it's never been, and with art, it seems like you gotta. I don't know. I just don't like that. It seems like you gotta dance in front of your painting. Yeah. And oh man, I can't dance that good.
From the outside, it seems like something collaborative like Southern Sunday had very little to do with you all as artists. It was all about like, what is this collective fucking piece gonna, right?
I mean, yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, because it was like, it's kind of like you have a boy band. There's so many people you don't concentrate
right.
on this, and then how can you explain it? There's 5 or 6 people's input into it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So yeah, then it has to come out like, probably exactly like you said. If you viewed it like that, then that's exactly what it was. It was like, come together, no idea what to do. Let's hang out and paint. Yeah. Like a pure artist getting together and forcing each other to paint on stuff during a certain amount of time. And and we're all here. We all drove to each other's houses. You know what I mean? So it's all the same. You know, it's within scenes, all that were going on during all the time in Atlanta and stuff like that. So, yeah, it was probably. We never know anything special because it's like it comes and it goes, and then like no one knows anything. People who kept track were amazed by some things that happened through here, but Atlanta doesn't have art historians keeping track of anything, unless it's some weird fancy exhibit that came in from town. It's always been when we got here, everything in the big galleries were from New York. So we're like, holy shit, there's nobody from Atlanta in any galleries. All the Fay Gold and all these big ones that were around, it was all New York. So we were like, we'll just make fun of New York. Like, that's all me and Michi started out to do, was to straight up make fun of New York. Like, arrogant like New York, I'd always say. I'd write everywhere. I'd be like, arrogant like New York. And the N-word thing was New York. We were making fun of New York as much as we could. So it was like, because it was like David and Goliath. No one gives a shit. We're making fun of New York. But then it feels nice. I guess it pulled out a style to be able to like kind of poke fun at New York.
So this is pre-Outkast.
This is probably this is Outkast was blowing up.
So and their whole, I mean, they hit the scene and they're saying the same shit. That famous quote.
And right? Two, it was like at the time we were like, holy shit, everyone's in the music world's looking at Atlanta, and we were like, let's do like the music world does with the art. We tried, you know what I'm saying? We tried to do it, but to this day, art is a prop, you know what I mean, and all kinds of stuff. So it's like, but the music was fueling it, everything, because you're like, holy shit, every day someone was putting out some album from like Outkast, and then like Jeezy, and then it was like Gucci Mane. All these like underground little tapes were popping out everywhere. So it was like they were balling, bragging about the South, and then we were also trying to brag about the South and be witty and funny, and at the time be like, yo, we all get along down here. That's a joke on y'all. at the time.
Right,
You know what I'm
right,
saying?
right,
It was
right.
like, so it was early 2000s. We were like, this is the joke on y'all that we all get along and we do badass shit, and
Right.
it's authentic, and you won't find it anywhere but here. I've always said it's like Jamaica. Like the South developed a weird little culture like Jamaica did. They have their own freaking music. That's,
Right.
you know, all this little stuff. It's like the South has its own little everything. We were hoping the South would have its own little art scene,
Yeah.
kinda.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But with an art scene, you gotta get people coming in, buying it, and spreading it, and that's been the formula to solve in Atlanta. It also is the basis for almost every cool fucking thing in the world.
I totally agree.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
the blues is the basis for every cool fucking thing in the world. That came from down here. You know, like it's like a place you make fun of, but it's like more influential than any place could ever be in a weird way. You know what I mean?
I agree.
So I've been waiting for the art to do that. Like I can't say I did it or anyone's done it yet. I'm waiting for somebody here to be like, fuck. You know what I mean? This is like, holy shit, this is like Southern contemporary. I maybe someone has and I'm just sitting in my basement not freaking knowing. But like, it'd be good to be like, holy shit. Something new down here. I mean, something different. And it's like,
So were y'all having those conversations like back when you first got here, when you were like,
oh,
what
probably
is the
for
scene?
sure. Because the music was so crazy. It was just one after another, like blowing up and all this stuff. So it was like, we were totally feeding off that. Like, holy shit, everyone's looking at here. Everyone's looking at here. It's just that, I don't know if there was any network or any kind of system that was set up. I mean, there was like iDrum or something, and iDrum had their own kind of little scene and stuff like that, and there was little like enclaves of stuff, but there was nothing, there was no gallery support, there was no any of that. And then there's just some galleries that had New York stuff to sell to rich folks that were in Atlanta that wanted New York paintings to say, I got a painting. Because I remember I was like, I'm just going to say I'm from New York. You know what I mean? I was like, that's a rational thing. Did you just say I'm from New York? And then I could sell my shit in Atlanta. Like that was my theory. If I say I'm from New York, I sell shit in Atlanta. You know what I mean? And sometimes, like, that feels like that's still a little push on things. Like, what, you know what I mean? Like, but I don't know. It's I feel older. I feel like I missed a gap of about 10 years of shit going on, but I don't feel like I missed too much. You know what I mean? Like, I got called a narc everywhere we went. Everywhere we went. If I wanted to get a bean pie because only the Muslim dudes sold the bean pies, it means you'd stop the guy to get a bean pie, and then he'd be like, what you want a bean pie? And then he'd look in and go, oh shit, I got a phone call, and he'd take off. And then we were at the D4L concert in Albany, Georgia, and we were gonna go in, but it was at a rundown shopping mall in Albany, Georgia. And then we drove by and I just hear, narc! I'm like, fuck, we're not going in that. Fuck, I'm not going in. Because I was just a pudgy little Panama City boy, like, I'm not legit. You know what I'm saying? There's no street cred showing up looking here. I probably might have some, but it's not visual at all. But it's like that Apache Cafe I was talking about. It was in Buckhead, and artists would paint and get food and drink. If you painted, you'd get some food and drink. And I think first time we met, I think we were sitting in a booth there, kind of thing. He had some little, it's like a painting with a chicken, and it had like a knocker on it. And there's this chicken on a piece of wood, and I don't know why I find it hilarious. I don't know, just hadn't really seen anything, just like, why is there just a chicken and a knocker? And I think someone had said, hey, this guy's doing something similar or whatever. So we just talked, and then I think when I was living in like a townhouse in Roswell, we came over, and I think the first time we painted like 5 paintings, and I think we had a show like soon after. We painted like a shitload right away. Like these old ones that were like some gas mask dude, and this like heaven and hell one were split, and all these weird ones that were like probably been like destroyed. And yeah, just kind of went with that. And then we got good press because it was like there was nothing going on, and then we called it like the duel, like because we're like it's a duel between us or whatever. And then I think I'm just king of rambling, so I think I was like, we're two fat Southern boys that paint or whatever, and then he's good at remembering what I would ramble about, so I'd be like, oh fuck, that's, and then
It's such
I
a
was all
great
about
phrase.
humor. Like
Yeah.
I loved when people would look at my painting and start cracking up. So I was all about humor. So that one tag phrase just got us so far because people were like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You know, like self-deprecating humor and your artist. What is this thing you're doing? It just worked. It was just a funny little, yeah, it was a funny little marketing thing. It was, I mean, it got us to like New York. We did some crazy shit. It's just no one ever gave us any money. We made $0 the whole time.
Even though you had the press and the shows.
The whole time. We were getting press on everything. We were getting press in other people's press. It's a good show, but not like Tindel Michi's show. They just did press, all this stuff. Michi will say we made $0. The whole time Tindel Michi looked like rock stars. $0. No one invested in anything. So that little cool scene in Atlanta that went on there, nobody like helped us, like practically begging. I think when we went to New York, we had to like promise a guy 2 paintings if he could buy us tickets to go to New York. Like we had no money, you know, like our paintings we delivered, somebody was moving there, so we put them on their moving truck so they could go move to New York and then store them into the gallery. So like we're doing all this stuff. We had $0, like $0. So it was all like plotting and, I mean, yeah. I mean, we could say we did a show in New York and we did all this, you know, stuff, but it was $0. I mean, it's hard to be like, let's do it again. Let's make $0.
Right.
It wasn't until like recently that like it seemed like hard work is paying off, like 15 years later kind of deal. That's why you play guitar, because you see the rock stars blow up. There's always that. You see some artists blow up. I think in general you're not going to blow up, first off. Like there is no blowing up. And then it's most artists I see are working their ass off to like figure out their yearly salary. Some dudes have PR firms and this, you know, I think it's what you're willing to spend to get out. If I want to spend on a PR firm, I could probably get into some magazines and stuff like that. I don't know, because I feel like mine's just a disorder. That now I have a basement and I can do it, and I don't have to leave anywhere, and I don't have to, you know, to like have a normal life, not blown up. Just a great middle class life as an artist is a weird spot. Yeah. It's either like you're fucking dying on the streets, or you're like some kind of weird, you know, fucking multimillionaire type products and all that stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like just a regular old, like, I want to make a good career, buy a house, get my kids in college. That's awkward to do that in a creative field where there's, you know, the poorest and the richest, and there's no in the middle kind of. I can paint, I can design, I can do this, I can do this. Just fill it in. You know what I mean? Just fill it in the day with all these different things. Like, don't sit around and be like, I'm a painter and wait for that. Like, go learn something else. Because you got to fill in the hours. Like I knew in college that no way, if I came out with a painting degree, would I have any chance. So I was like, oh, what's close to painting? I was like, graphic design. That's kind of creative. So I was like, oh, that stuff makes money. So I'll do graphic design, so I'll have a backup. And then if I'd stop painting, I could probably make a shitload more if I was like, I'm a graphic designer and I don't do anything. But like, I don't know, being smart, and there's so many adjacent careers to, you know, around the stuff that's like, I don't know, just backup. During the time where it was like I had to rely on paintings to make money, I was fucking mad at paintings. Like, I'd look at a blank canvas and be like, you motherfucker, fucking hate you. Because I knew I was going to have to go put it in a gallery and then go pick the fucker up. I knew that's what would happen. You'd be like, and you'd paint 10 and you may sold like 1 or 2. And you're like, yes. And you're like, this is not, you know, and then if, you know, when kids and that stuff come, then you're like, fuck, I can't. $1,000 is nothing. I got a mortgage and stuff. You know what I mean? It gets like, yeah. I think a lot of this is just design. It's like the painting's the chaos and the design is the reeling it in. It feels like using more of the design skills to add like a pink over here because there's something fucking with my eye up here and I want your eye to go down here, so eventually it'll go over here. So it's like, it feels like a lot of that little puzzle playing is all design. Like that's the game, it's a design game. So a lot of it feels like the painting's just the chaos part. And then the design is the like getting the painting to come out. Or otherwise it's like just chaos. Like I can just stay in chaos, but if I want to pull it out, I got to use design. I feel like I know where your eyes can go. I know how to attract eyeballs. That's why abstracts are fun, because you can put a bunch of puzzles and you can give a bunch of little like pathways where your eyeballs are going to go. It's like 100% I can get your eyeball, because it's just reds do this to your brain and a black is a pushes you back. So you try to get them to stay on your painting as much as you can. You try to get them to look at it as long as they can. And since it is chaos, your eyes aren't like, here's a sentence. Oh, I read all these sentences this way. It's more like, red, and then there's something hard over here, edge that catch you, or there's a little pinch of two colors that catch you over here, or there's something that's just a purposeful whiteout to just make you, it's all like a layered game of like eyeball chasing, kind of. I mean, I feel like it. That's what when I'm looking at it, I'm like, looking at something, and then I'm like, I don't know. I kind of get this like blinky, like parts like there's too much red here, and I can see where I need to pull it over. So it's, I don't know what eventually it's doing to the eye, but it's keeping you in it. Maybe it is putting you right here in it, but it's doing it through all these little pathways and patterns with colors and stuff. It's just this layers of puzzles that you're playing off every little thing you're doing. And mistakes are the best. Like mistakes are the most natural element you can play off of, if that makes any sense.
Well, it's organic, it's like, it creates like a...
You couldn't do it on purpose a lot of times, which is hard to do. I drilled holes in one and we stuck firecrackers in one. I think it's I gave that one to the Marietta Cobb Museum. It's like Michi painted like, who's it, Gone with the Wind girl on it or something, and then it kind of goes like this, and then in the appropriate places I put little firecrackers and we lit them, and they blew up and left these like, well-placed little things to make your eyes go certain ways, but they were kind of explosions, yeah. Yeah, I thought when I was like, after college, like, oh, I'll be an artist. So I thought I was gonna like be the dude at the restaurant with the sketchbook, and I thought I would be that person, but I just got more plain and normal. Like I don't know. I get very content, and I can ride that beautiful contentness out. You know what I mean? Like,
do you feel like content is the same as complacent?
Ooh, it's probably got a touch in it, but probably not. If that means like void of all kind of creativeness. Yeah, only if I get caught on TikTok for like an hour. That's just rotting my brain, but no, because content means like, oh, I'll come down here and work on something whenever I want, or, yeah. Complacent, yeah, I don't know, that would feel like a vacation. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I wouldn't have to do this or care, because it gets a little obsessive. It's like, my wife keeps me down here because if I'm up there, I'll destroy the house. I'll have paintings everywhere. It'll be like disaster up there. So it's like, keeps me down here because it can shed and grow and stuff. So yeah, it's a little obsessive, it feels like, like it would be weird not to do it. I don't know what else you would do. It's like the fidgety creative part of your brain, and you just gotta, like your legs shaking. It always is just, shaking. I don't know, content feels like you're saying a good place. It may not mean that, but it feels like that's what you mean by, or that's what I feel like I mean by content, is like a good space. But I get to where like content makes you wanna, it does trigger like, are you being lazy? It does trigger that. So it's like, should I get a show so I'll at least finish something? Because otherwise I painted on that thing for like 4 years. Like I've just been painting on it. If I don't have something to do, the OCD, that comes out where it truly comes out. Like oh, he could paint on that one for the rest of his life. You're like, oh, I get it now. Like, okay. So there is that. You need something that feels like to end some things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Have a goals to reach for.
Oh, I gotta have deadlines.
Yeah.
Or I'll
Otherwise,
never
it's
finish it.
just what my free, it's just whatever, which is a little too free sometimes. You know what I mean? Because I got all these tools. I'm like, I can't figure out what the fuck I'm going to do. But someone's like, you got to show and you got to come up with like a installation-y thing. And then I'd be like, oh, I got all these things I can do. Juvenile, mystical, other people. Playing at a concert, Heineken thing, or whatever. So I went to school in Mobile, so like Juvenile, Mystical, all that little crew in New Orleans, like I loved them from the start. So I'm at Juvenile, go get, let's just say a Lamberger somewhere. So you got this old school hip hop concert going. You got this giant pyramid where I'm painting on top of this pyramid with some other dudes around this pyramid. And then so me and, God, I can't remember who I went with, but we go to there, get a Lamberger. I'm like, yeah, yummy. It was really good. Go back, and I'm like, holy fuck, Mystical's up here. He opens it up and goes, what'd he say? He said, you may not know who I am, but your mama does, or something like that. And I'm like, holy fuck, I'm gonna see Mystical finally. And all of a sudden I'm like, whoop, oh God, what the fuck? Something's happening. Either way, let's not get gross. Yeah,
Did you shit your pants?
in the porta potty at a Mystical concert. So all that together sounds pretty cool. That's not the end of the story. So I got out of there, and then going down 400, and I had one of those like quick trip, gigantic 64 ounces.
God damn.
Yeah, this got gross quick, man.
All right, keep it up.
Yeah, yeah.
In the cup?
75 mile an hour, just filled up. It was disgusting. Yeah. I came inside and my wife, it was like, what the fuck? I was like, I think I ate a bag of hamburger or something. I could write a book on fucking bad places I've shit, man. That was one of them. Mystical concert porta potty.
Wow.
Lamberger, mother.
Dude.
ATL. Yeah, so this was a trip where somebody told some guy that was supposedly some like real big time like curator guy that we found out they told him that we were some fat southern people that will come to your gallery in overalls and paint and make fried chicken. That's what we found out when we got there.
That's what he wanted.
That's what we found out after we fucking sold our soul to just get to New York. We stayed at this girl's house and this girl's house. You know what I mean? Like paintings went up when someone moved. I told like someone's moving to New York. We put our paintings in New York, so we got them up there. We promised 2 paintings, which Michi was like, yes. I did, make that deal good eventually after like 8 years or something. Like, made it good with the guy. He got us plane tickets. We got up. We got to this place. And then we found out the guy, he goes, well, y'all aren't that fat. And we're like, what? No. First of all, we got there. And we were like trying to get in the gallery. And we got in the gallery, and the gallery was covered in dishwasher soap. The whole floor was covered in dishwasher soap. And then there was all these styrofoam sculptures that were like mutilated, like someone had smashed them. So we walk in and there's like dishwasher soap, and they're like, oh. And then this one girl comes out, she's like, oh, there was a event here with some famous artist, something. And I was like, what the fuck? So dishwasher soap, and we're like, we're supposed to have a show here. Like, there's dishwasher soap. And then, so we're like, always have been making fun in New York, and it's this weird fucking snooty art world. So they take this pile of shit of broken styrofoam covered in dishwasher soap, okay? They take it out of the gallery and they shove it in this truck. a fucking BMW comes, skids out, goes, oh my God, is that so-and-so's work? And we were like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me? We were like, are you kidding me? Skidded out. Is this so-and-so's work? So we're like, oh my God. So we get there, and then the guys show up, these gallery owners, and one was delusional, like Shining, like The Shining. That's all I can describe him as. He was The Shining. And he goes, oh, y'all aren't that fat. And then we're like, what? I mean, you know, we were like two fast Southern boys, so we're like, we get it. But, you know, like, we're not skinny or nothing, but you wanted like big, like really big.
Tweedledee.
And then there was something, and he said like, are you gonna wear the overalls? And we're like, what the fuck? Like, our overalls? And so I was like, what? And then they said, so our little thing we did at the show in Atlanta that was like legendary little show is we like, the chef guy made like, with that sign, we made like 150 pounds of fried chicken. So we were like, we're gonna try to recreate it in New York, and we were like, we spent a whole time in New York looking for fried chicken in mass quantities, because fried chicken was like, look at this boutique. And you're like, it's $25 fried chicken, and it tastes like shit. You know, and like the little hippie girls are making it, and you're like, what? So we looked forever to get bulk fried chicken, so we found this like, so we're like, we'll make fried chicken in the paper bags, and where it's all greasy looking. We just like, you know, like a lunch bag of it. So we got like, we found after 2 days of walking everywhere in New York. We had no, were there phones like that? Because I feel like there was no like.
What year?
Fried chicken, and you could find it. I feel it's like 2003 or 4. No, right? iPhone's like 2010, right?
Right.
Yeah. So lost. Walking around New York looking for chicken. It makes it even funnier because there's no phone. And then we find this like horrible chicken flavor. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. It's like everyone that night had diarrhea. Straight up. We didn't eat it because we're like, this is, I mean, you put it in the bag and it would just fall through. It's so greasy and disgusting. And like, it wasn't like good, you know, dried out, yummy, good. And so, I don't know where I was at with this. Oh yeah, so that was the trip. So we have this little event. We like couldn't get all our paintings up there, so we went to like this little hardware store in New York, tried to like out on the street make a bunch of paintings for that night or whatever. And so we had the show, and it was weird. It was an art show, whatever like that. And then we didn't really hang around at our show that long that night. We went to like, someone said there's this weird neck face show, that neck face dude, graffiti guy. Went somewhere, it was like weird people on bicycle. It wasn't the show, but it was weird. So we're like, oh, New York, this is weird. We're in a warehouse. This is fucking weird. So we went all night long, came back at like 2 or 3 in the morning to the gallery. It was just it was me, Michi, the gallery owner, and there was another gallery owner, and he was a cool dude. He was not there. And then this other friend of the guy. So we come back in, and we're like, hey, we're leaving tomorrow. Here's our consignment sheet, which is literally just like, here's the paintings you have here. Just sign it to say you have them.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
He's not buying them.
No, nothing. It's no like lawyer thing or nothing. It was just like a little thing. And we thought we were like, ooh, look how official we are. We got a consignment, which not official. You know what I mean? You need like a lawyer thing. And so for like we're like signing. It's like, I'm not gonna sign it. I'm not gonna sign it. I'm not gonna sign it. Back and forth. And then it's like, then it gets a little more heated. We're like, fucking sign it, man. You know, it was getting like, fucking, so what are you fucking doing? It's just this, it's just that. We just need to cover our asses. We're going all the way back to Atlanta. We ain't got no money. You know what I mean? We're leaving all our paintings here. We were just like, fucking sign it. Like, I think for 30 minutes, all I said was, fucking sign it. You were getting like, that point where you're like, guess what I got to say to that? Fucking sign. It got to that point, and then the dude was getting where he's like, right. Okay, before this, here's where the shining comes. This is where, okay, this story has to come. So he goes, I was like, oh, I live in this place in Atlanta. I got a yard, there's trees, I got kids, I got dogs and all this stuff. He's like, you need to leave your kids and your family. He's like, you need to come here. I was like, fuck. I was like, what? He goes, come here. Let me show you something. So I was like, oh, this is going to be fucking, what is it? What is he going to show me? So he takes me up this ladder. And he goes up this ladder, and he goes, look at this. And I was like, and it was like a storage for mattresses. And then there was a bed with cigarette butts on the bed. And then when you looked out the window, it was ACs. It was disgusting. And he goes, look at this view. And I was like, what the fuck? Then I was like, what the fuck? I was like, is he seeing marble? I was like, he's seeing marble floors. It's a cigarette on a bed in a mattress storage up in an attic in New York. Like, I was like, what the hell? So that's what, like, and then we went down and we're sign it. And then we're finally like, it was just getting where all I said was fucking sign. I literally said it the whole time. And then, like, he was getting weird and he's like, I'll fucking sign it. And then he turns around and he kind of pulls his pants down and he's like, I think was gonna pee on it or whatever. And we're like, what the fuck? So Michi might have gotten a little abrupt. It kind of halted him that, and then he goes, I want to shoot you so bad. I'm gonna shoot you. I want to shoot you so bad. And there was no gun, so I was like, I was probably stupid, like, fucking shoot me. Just fucking sign it. I was at that point where I was like, shoot me as long as you sign, because we thought we're gonna be screwed if we don't have this little thing. And then he just, after shoot me, all this stuff, he started talking to me like this, and he hit me on my chest. And I was like, and then we're talking, just sign it. He hit me on my chest, and I let it go like longer than most people would. And then it's like about like 7 or 8 into that, he did like a double chest, like a 2-time one. And then it's like, I just went slow motion. And then his hand was on the desk like that. And I just was like, I just grabbed it and just was like, I'm gonna pull as hard as I can. And it threw him across, like, over the desk or whatever. And then immediately I ran to this other guy who I don't know who it was. I was like, I'm sorry. Like, I instantly was like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I'm not that tempered or whatever. But I found out that at the exact time I was grabbing the wrist, Michi was curling up his meat fist and was probably about to knock this guy square out. So it was like this rage I'd never, not even rage, it was like zen ass, slow-mo. He was probably in a slow motion half sentence, and I was like, yeah, boom. And then Haney was like, oh, well, that's the first time I've let my
your
passive temper.
Yeah.
I don't know when I'm going to strike. I'm going to let you hit you like 8 times, 9 times. I'll go on 11.
But not 10. Right.
No, I like 11. I
Yeah.
just throw you off. But yeah. And then I think he signed it.
Did you get your paintings back?
We did not get our paintings back for 5 years. Because we never had any money to get them back down. So it was like, I think someone finally was moving back down and brought some back. We gave some to the lady that kept them, that moved them up there. So we kind of gave some to people. And then the ones we made there, they're just on wood. So I think we just left them, left them there. A lot of those paintings, like, I remember using one to get through my kudzu in my backyard. So it kind of died as like a walkway. It's my pessimistic love of the Atlanta art scene. Like, I love it because it's so impossible, because it's technically almost still doesn't exist. It almost still, it's just this wild west of whatever you can make of it. There's definitely not an old school, this is what they do in Atlanta. Right. You're like, no, we sell shit out of the back of the truck. That's how I made my living in the 2000s, was like, meet a dude at the bar, go get it out of your car, get $200. You know what I mean? The next day, hopefully you get like $200 or something. Like, yeah, nothing was more than $200. It was weird because we had the most press, the most everything, the most you could ever want. Like, I'll never get that much again. Like, Tindel Michi made $0 the whole time. And we spent all our money to do all the cool stuff we were hoping to do. And got help, you know what I mean? But had to labor out that money eventually. So, but now I'm older and I'm like, what a fucking crazy ride, because I'm just like recalling some stories. I'm just like, oh, wait a minute. Why was I there? Yeah, all the biggest of the biggest were putting out the mixtapes were the best. I don't know why we knew this dude or why we were always near this one guy at this one warehouse. His whole job was to sell blank CDs. And he was making buku bucks selling like underground blank CDs so all the rapper dudes could get their, and make, so it was, everything was on CD and stuff like that. And then Michi was good at getting like the legit, from the gas station guy, like good ass CDs. So like, yeah, the mixtapes, like I have a couple of them. And I'm like, oh my God, you can't, they're so much better than all the albums because they have all these little special little things on them or raw versions, you know what I mean? So yeah, but it was like every day, all the day, and then those dudes all of a sudden would be like the super famous rappers that everybody knew all of a sudden, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and it just kept going and going and going. The rush was the same.
Yeah.
And we were always like, maybe we can parallel this. And our attitude, I think, was the same because we're like, we'll do it on our own. We'll do it,
Yeah.
from the bottom up or whatever. But there's if it's parallel, like all that was driving, it was so awesome to be there, all that stuff coming out. We're getting to do all this crazy stuff in the city and stuff like that. So it was like, definitely was on the wind of that. Like, and it felt so cool that these people from these little areas were getting famous for their art. It's Outkast. Like,
Yeah.
it's,
I mean, it's cream
we're
of the
not
crop.
the art version of Outkast. that there isn't an art version of Outkast.
What's the cheapest shit you've ever sold?
I mean, I like give it away, right? That's the cheapest.
Yeah.
I gave one away because I didn't want to put it in my car. Like I give stuff away a lot of times just because this one guy drove away in a little Toyota with like a 6-foot hanging out the door because he was like, I'm taking it home. Yeah, I don't know. To me, it's not nothing. None of this is super sacred. There's some that I like a lot that I'm like, ooh, I could draw more inspiration from it. Like I like it being around for a second. But I mean, unless it's just one I really like nothing's that's sacred to me. I'm just anti bullshit. Like, this is my art. It's a light bulb. And here's a 35-page fucking dissertation on something about that. I can't take it. It can be art, but it's like, kind of like write a book. Like maybe you should be a writer. I don't know. I get
If your
unless
art
it.
statement, yeah.
I mean, there is some things where I can read something and then look at it and be like, "Fool," but it's more like, man, you nailed that metaphor, or maybe you nailed that like, beauty between it. But just like, sometimes I just don't understand that world, and I'm not in it. I could also be the little bitchy ass kid that's like, I hate it because I'm not in. You know what I mean?
Right.
But then I've been around it enough. I can't. It's always just felt like I was this beautiful horse, and they take you out of the stall and they fucking show you around. All the ladies with the funny glasses are like, ooh, this is fucking beautiful horse, and they're petting you and they're like, God dang. And then they put you back in the thing and they don't give you any fucking money or nothing. You know what I'm saying? They're just like, also you could say a little two-step prance and you got like way more than I'll ever make all year on a painting. You know what I mean?
Right.
There is that too, but they can also turn you into glue. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like it's more like, why not at least try to be totally independent? Because I don't know, I just don't like someone having total control over everything. And I probably could do more and probably could do better with like teaming up with people and stuff, but it's literally like this little obsession that I haven't put a lot of thought into it yet. 20 years down, you know what I mean? You get emails, you do stuff, all this weird stuff happens, but I swear I haven't sat down and,
Right.
thought about it really, like, what do I want to paint? I've yet to figure that out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's like that show me and Michi did, and it was Redneck Graffiti. It was like right around that whole time, everyone said, you know what? They like switched this whole switch and were like, this place is fucking cool. And they were like, we're going to be like, you know what I mean? Everyone started being like, adding Southern shit into their art, adding everything, being like proud of this little weird stuff you get down here. If we could, it felt like it happened during that, like Red 2003. Like it was, people were like proud of the South all of a sudden. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And it was making its way into pop culture.
Yeah, and I think you could say 100% because of the music, straight
Right.
up, bam, everyone could be proud of that. But it really did in like the art world. It wasn't like people trying to make New York paintings. It was like all of a sudden, like we were like making fucking just stupid ass Southern ass paintings. It's kind of like when I saw like Basquiat stuff. I was like, what? You can put words on shit? Whoa! I can just think right on. You know what I mean? And that's my favorite part is just leaving like little stupid ass thoughts. You know? So it is tied to a literal moment, a neural moment. Yeah, the paintings from that time, if I went and looked at all the scribblings and rant, because I mean, some of them have like a lot of ranting ass shit on it. You can tell, like, almost exactly, yeah, where what was going on. I could see like on some of mine where Michi came over and wrote something little I didn't know about. You know what I mean? Like, there's all that little kind of stuff because everyone was just painting.
What do you want out of this?
What? I want to set up something where we can pull out these stories, at least from the dudes I know, at least from what I know, and the stories that went on when we were young and going hard, hustling, because no one has kept track of Atlanta art history, period. No one is. I don't know anything about what happened before me. I don't know if anyone's gonna remember what happened. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I feel like if we can get a comfortable place where we can shoot the shit and pull these stories to the surface, whether they're funny, whether they're hilarious, whether they're sad, whatever they are, because it's art history. There is no art history. There is no recording of it. You can't lay out a timeline and say anything about Atlanta's art scene. You know what I mean? And I think there's needs to be some filled in stuff. And if we can do it with like stories and alcohol and shooting the shit, then that's fucking how we do it. You know what I mean? Because how else are you gonna fucking do it? Like,
So tell me,
sit in an office? You know? The goat farm built that big gallery with the sliding walls they have for me and Michi. Like, our first show was there, and then on the opening night, I watched this dude at the goat farm. Oh, it was fucking amazing. Someone held a ladder straight up in the air. He climbed the ladder and then threw up the rest of the ladder and climbed to the top while someone was holding it, like he stayed straight up. And then they were welding these walls that moved because they had it, you know, in their gallery, they go around. They were welding it at the opening of our show. So we were the first show there that they built their gallery for. Like, no one knows that, right? No, probably no.
I
So it's like,
plays in that room.
yeah, those sliding giant walls were built for our first show at the goat farm, which was maybe we were something that
I mean,
should at least be marked on us. You know, there's a lot of dudes around that time, and a lot of them are still doing it or bigger than they are, but no one knows they did it. No one might know they're still doing it bigger. It's like, let's record it. Let's record what I know and the folks I know and what they did. And then let's jump to like, what is the new crew doing? What is this? And what, you know, and then maybe we can start seeing what the hell Southern art is. You know what I mean? What the lineage of it is. Kind of, I guess, maybe, you know?
yeah.
It's ridiculous that there's literally no history of it. It's weird. And I guess you could go back in all the little art papers and stuff, but art papers to me never ever hit really much of Atlanta. Like, and maybe I'm talking, I don't know, were we underground? I don't know what it was. There was no above ground, so it's
Right.
just, it felt like you're just floating through it. And amazing stories and like cool ass people and met cool ass people. And yeah, I think the stories need to come up. And I think all these dudes are my age. We're at that age. We're just gonna, we'll tell stories. I'll tell you that I shit in the woods. You know, I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? Like, so I think it'd be a fun ass time to get some folks telling some of the stuff. You know, statute of limitations. You can't get in trouble for nothing. You know what I mean? Like, yeah,
It's been 10 years.
yeah. I know. You know, there's the getting arrested with graffiti stories. There's all these kind of stories that, you know, someone walks up back then, where were you? I got arrested for graffiti and you know, this kind of stuff. So there's all these stories that just kind of linked all together at that time. But they were real artists trying to really hustle in a Wild West where there was no support, little to no support whatsoever. You know what I mean? And I felt like if anyone would have got support, it would have been us. And, you know, I make the claim, we made fucking $0. So, you know what I mean? So it was, there's nobody writing. There's a little writing, but you know what I mean? It's before phone, so it's like on a Google Reader somewhere. There's a printout of a page. So it's like, it's all right before everything was recorded. You know what I mean? And then even now that stuff's recorded, I don't know what you would mark down as the history, but it'd be cool shit to get a timeline going. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, yeah, get some fools over, start a conversation and have some fun and tell of the days of yore. Is that what it is? Days of yore.
You said
Ooh.
you're the wise wizard now, you said, right? You got the gray in the beard.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gandalf.
The angst leaves and the wisdom, the beautiful black beard left and the wise gray, stiff ass, pokey fibers came in. Now I can cast spells. It's like the fidgety creative part of your brain, and you just gotta, like your leg shaking. It always is just, you know what I mean, shaking.
Shake, shake, get a little money, money. Shake, shake, get a little money.